Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have my little helper Molly with me today. I'm excited about today's show. I hope you guys are going to get a kick out of this. Today I'm going to finally make a new wheel arbor for my tool and cutter grinder. This poor old thing, the threads have been threatening just to roll over and strip right off this thing for quite some time now. And so finally today we're going to build a new one. One of the things about this that's taken me so long is in order to build this, I needed a lathe drive dog to use both in the lathe and the tool and cutter grinder. So I finally got around to making one in the last episode. So I'll be able to clamp this on and drive this while I'm putting all the different features on it. Another reason that I want to do this work, all of it between centers, the finishing work at least, is because then all these different features will run true to each other. Now, another thing is I'm going to do this taper in the tool and cutter grinder, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. First of all, this machine, the centers are always in line with each other, no matter what angle the table's at, and that's important. If you did this in a lathe by offsetting your tailstock, well, now your centers aren't fitting in your center holes properly anymore, and it's just going to wear them out. And adjustments are much more crude on the lathe, the tailstock offset method. So getting an extra quarter thou off one end or the other is a lot more difficult than it is in this machine. I don't have a taper attachment for my lathe, so that's not an option. My compound rest doesn't have enough travel to make it this full distance in one cut, and doing this in one cut is absolutely imperative. So yeah, those are all the reasons that I'm using the tool and cutter grinder to put the taper on this thing. So I'm at the bandsaw. I'm going to cut off the piece that I'm going to use to make this. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the bandsawing. I'm going to make that as quick as possible. The piece I'm making is around 2-inch diameter. This is 3-inch diameter, but it's the closest piece of solid bar I have. So I kind of have no choice but to use it. So there's going to be lots of chips, but I mean, hey, that's what we're here for, right? So I'm just going to get this thing going, and we'll see you in a minute. And boom, just like that, we're done. I'm going to deburr the ends of the belt sander really quick. I went ahead and got the lathe partially set up here. I got the 3-jaw in off camera. I'm going to start by facing this thing off. I am not going to center drill it right away. I'm going to center drill the ends after most of the roughing is done. This should be a pretty stable little piece, but I think it's just a best practice not to commit to a center hole location too early on in the process. I'm just getting ready to take my first skim off the outside of this thing. So there, I've touched off. I'm going to try a 50 thou depth of cut, and my feed rate is 3.5 thou per revolution. And the RPM I'm going to start at is 293. Kind of random, but see how this goes. So I'm getting chatter. I'm going to try, and I'm not getting a nice chip. So I'm going to slow it down a wee bit, the RPM, and I'm going to increase the feed rate slightly. So I've been playing with my speeds and feeds. I have a lot better surface finish coming out now. It's not chattering too much. I'm having trouble with chatter here, and I do know that the inserts I'm using, the indexable carbide inserts, are a really high pressure tool, and I think it's too much for this little machine without the support of the tailstock. So in an effort to get this to work out, even though I didn't want to put the center hole in it just yet, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I think the extra support of the tailstock should really allow me to take decent cuts here without all this chatter. I'm having a bit of a problem here, and the reason is that this this cross slide is also a milling table, and it's very wide. And I can't go any farther this way without hitting the jaw of the chuck on the cross slide. If I'm here with my with the keys on the bottom of my compound, if I'm over here, by the time I can reach this, my tailstock's fully extended. There's no way I'm going to get my center in there. And no matter how I adjust this, there's no way that gets, you know, anywhere near close enough that's going to get me in there. Now, I can come over here, and then this can come much closer to where we had it before. And there's problem now is, even if I go this little bit on my compound further, no matter what I do, I'm never going to make it all the way to here. So what I think I'm going to do here is pull these keys off of here. That'll allow me to cock this sideways in here. And I should be able to then, well, you can see, I'll easily reach to the back because I'm already, this tool's past here. And also, I'll be able to get in there with my tailstock. I'm just going to center drill this hole and then we'll get set up. I'm all set up, ready to try this again. Take some material off the outside. I've got my tailstock quill all the way out. I just left enough 32nd of an inch so I could engage it with the center hole, so that's all locked up. I still do have a little room down here, you can see. So I'm not, you know, crashing into the tailstock with my carriage. I am off the end of the workpiece here. I don't know if you're able to see that, but I do have some room to go there, just a little. Now, this 0 is the farthest I want to go in my cut. The reason is, if you back up a little and look down here, I'm really super close to touching this jaw with my cross slide. And I do not want them to touch. That would be terrible. So this setup should work. The end result is I'll be actually able to machine a little less than half of it with this setup. I won't quite make it to half. I certainly won't be able to make it to where I was going before. But I'm not worried about that, because when I flip this around to do the other side, these jaws, they won't be sticking way out of the chuck like this, and this cross slide table will be able to go much closer to the headstock. And so a lot of these restrictions will be gone once I'm on the other side of this thing. I think that's going to be better. We're getting a decent cut at a decent speed with a decent chip and no chatter. That's horrible. Oh. So that's more of what I wanted to see for a chip. They're decent chips, they'll clean up easy. And you can see my surface finish is just great now. This thing's, it's cutting pretty happily right now. There's side one all roughed out, and so I'm going to go ahead, turn that around in the chuck, and then I'll determine at that point what clearances I have and don't have everywhere. I may end up adjusting this back to a normal position or not. We'll see how that goes. I've got this turned around in here now, and you'll notice I have it sticking out quite a bit. You would imagine, I would imagine, that you'd want to be as tight as you could be at all times. But there is a reason for this. My next step is to face this second end off. And what I'm going to do, because of the center hole thing, I'm actually going to bring this to the finished length at this stage. And I've left that extra space so that I can accurately get my calipers in there to know when I'm at exactly the right length. If I had it in there tighter, this would have to be at an angle to even fit, and I couldn't get a quality reading. So that's why I've done that. I'm going to just tickle away quite lightly at this face. because there's a lot sticking out. And I'm going to bring this to finished length, get a center hole in it, and then we can start hogging some meat off again. I'm just taking these nice light cuts. I don't want to, over stress anything. I certainly don't want to get chatter going. So this is going to take a while. It's good. I'll tell you what, I promise you this. It'll take a while for me, but I'll make it quick for you guys. How about that? Okay, that's good. So I'm just touching off, setting a 0. I've already got my feed set to where I think it should be. I'm going to set a cut here. Let me start it going. This is really good steel. I'm not sure if it's 4140 or 4340, but either way, I know it's really good steel. And that's the thing about really good steel. Like, you could not get a finish like that on mild steel, I don't think, just by hogging it off. I'm just roughing this down. I'm going to rough the whole thing out and then get it between centers and finish it like that. This is my last roughing pass before I start working on the lengths and roughing them out. I'm determining how far from this end this face is. And I know you don't have a good view of it, but I do. And it's 1 1/8 inch. So I'm going to set that up now, and I'm going to come shy of that, probably by 25 thou or something. And I'm going to start roughing down this diameter here. So I've got this diameter and this diameter roughed. I left 25 thou in the diameter, 25 on the face, 25 on this diameter. Now I'm going to spin this thing around in the lathe, and I'm going to rough all this down to size, this end of it here. I've got our part spun around in the lathe. I'm holding it by the little diameter now, just over 5/8 of an inch diameter that I put in there. And I touched off this face, and I've engaged my split nut, and now I'm going to advance to where I want to finish roughing this cut, and then I'll set my dial up so I can just stop every time I see the dial coming around. Because you slowed me down. So I'm just pounding out passes here. I've got a good ways to go.
Chips are level.
So I'm 100 thou over finish size, and I want to leave 30 thou on there. 25, 30 thou, something like that. So I'm going to take 35. Didn't make sense. 10, 20, 30. No, it didn't make, oh well, because I'm going to go 35, which is going to take off 70, which is going to leave me 30. But I didn't say it that way.
Yeah, we just said it that way now.
Oh, good.
We're good.
This is on its way to becoming that.
Ooh, it's looking good.
All right, so I've got my new grinding wheel arbor roughed out, and from here on in, I've left 25 thou on every surface. It's a random small number. Any moving around this material wanted to do as I remove the bulk of it would have been done by now. So by doing the rest of this work between centers, I know for sure that everything's going to run bang on true to everything else throughout the whole thing. And it gives us a chance to use, well, not a chance, I mean the whole reason we built this drive dog was so that we could build this arbor. And so here it is, getting ready to do what it was made to do for the first time. And we'll put it in the machine, you'll see it there.
Sweet.
Okay, so we got that between centers. Now we just need to tighten this guy up. Beauty. Now, I can come in as far as here, and I certainly don't need, well, I can't come in that far. I can't come in past here, really, clearly. But I can finish this diameter, this face. There's this undercut I want to recreate because all of my wheel spacers are built to work with this undercut with the various sizes of wheels. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to finish this diameter, this face, do this undercut, and I'm going to do this diameter here, put this little chamfer on, and then we'll spin it around. We'll finish all of this. I'll leave some extra meat in here for a radius that I will cut when I'm doing the taper in the tool and cutter grinder. And then we'll finish this taper and that radius in the tool and cutter grinder. I've got the part up in between centers now with our new drive dog driving it, and getting ready to do my finishing. I've decided to use this braze tip tool to do all my finishing. I've got a really aggressive free cutting point on it. We're not taking much off, so this should do the trick. I'm going to start by bringing this face here to its finished length. Okay, this face is finished. Now I'm going to finish this diameter in 2 passes. Well, I chipped my tool bit, so I'm going to freshen it up, and then I'm going to touch everything back off, reestablish all my zeros, and carry on after I sharpen this. So this face is finished, this diameter is finished, except for a little bit of emery cleanup, just to bring it to final size, improve the finish a little. Now I'm going to work on this outer diameter here. I'm gonna dish out this undercut area here now. So I'm just going to set this boring bar up so I can get it in there to take that away. Going to touch off here. Set a 0. I think I'm going to do this in 3 20 thou passes. And I've got a layout line there. I'll come out till I get to my line that I've scribed in there. One of the beautiful things about working between centers is you can pull your part out quick and easy, take a look at where you're at and how it's coming.
Happy?
So far, so good. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.